Welcome to the deep dive. So you shared Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog with us, and you're looking for ways to, well, really boost your productivity, right? Get rid of that procrastination.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're going to dig into for you today.
This idea, eating the frog, tackling the big, ugly, important task first, it's powerful.
It really is, because, our instinct is usually to put off the hard stuff. This flips that completely. You start with the thing that matters most, gets the ball rolling.
And clearly it works for a lot of people. The feedback is pretty amazing. Micro Business Hub, they call it a fundamental shift in how we work. Gets right to the heart of procrastination.
And the Simple Dollar, they like the practical side. No fluff, just tactics that work.
Right. And you've got people like Liz Gooster who actually reread it every year, like a tune-up for her focus.
It's interesting how they all point to similar benefits, even from different angles. Peanut Press talks about, breaking through that internal resistance.
Yeah. And Corinna Richards saying she eats frogs daily and feels better for it. That really shows the immediate payoff, doesn't it?
It does, that instant positive feedback.
Beth Ann Schwamberger, she found it helped organize her to-do lists, plan her days better.
And Than Pam, over at Asian Efficiency, even says read this before other time management stuff. It's foundational, actionable advice.
Totally. Chris Moore calls the strategies game changers, and the Carnegie Library librarians. They highlight the self-discipline aspect, how it helps you start and finish things.
So the mission here for you is really to pull out these key strategies from Eat That Frog, understand them deeply, and use them to become more effective, to finally tackle that procrastination habit.
Now, Brian Tracy himself, his story is quite something. He didn't exactly start with a silver spoon.
Not at all. Lots of different jobs early on, traveled widely, worked in sales.
But the key thing, I think, is that his success wasn't just luck. He actively studied what successful people did. He learned how to be successful.
Exactly. That's crucial. He wasn't just naturally gifted, perhaps, but he was observant. He asked top performers, what do you do differently? And then he actually did it rigorously.
And that's how he climbed the ladder, right?
Yeah.
Into management and so on.
Yeah. And that experience, it feeds directly into his main message. Success is predictable. It's not some big mystery.
Right. If you do the right things, maybe slightly differently, especially with your time, anyone can improve.
He even talked about feeling, inadequate at first, then realizing successful people just had different habits. And those habits, they're learnable.
Which leads us nicely into the first big takeaway.
Yeah.
The power of habits.
And Tracy argues our success in the long run isn't about, random bursts of genius. It's about the habits we build day in, day out.
Specifically, setting priorities, beating procrastination, and that habit of tackling the most important thing first, the frog.
Yeah. And he's really clear these are learnable, like any skill, mental or physical.
So it's not like you're born organized or disorganized.
Not according to Tracy. It's practice, repetition. Think about learning an instrument. Awkward at first, right? But keep at it and it becomes automatic. Second nature.
Okay, but you can't just wish for these habits. There's work involved.
Oh, definitely. No shortcuts. He says mastering productivity is like mastering anything takes practice. And he mentions the 3 Ds. Remember those?
Decision, discipline, and determination.
Exactly. You've got to decide to change. Then have the discipline to stick with it when it's hard, and the determination to see it through long term.
Okay, so you've decided you're working on the discipline. What's the next practical step Tracy pushes? He's big on written goals, isn't he?
Huge. And he has a very specific 7-step process for it. What are those again?
Right, okay. First, decide exactly what you want. Be specific, don't be vague.
Clarity first.
Second, write it down.
Yeah.
Get it out of your head and onto paper, clearly. Third, set a deadline, a real date, maybe even sub-deadlines for bigger goals.
That adds urgency, right? A goal without a deadline is just a wish.
Pretty much. Fourth, list everything you need to do to get there. Brainstorm it all. Fifth, organize that list. Make it a plan. Prioritize. Put things in order. Maybe draw it out.
Visualize and help some people, yeah.
Sixth, take action. Immediately. Don't wait. Just start. And seventh, do something every single day, even something small. Keep moving towards that main goal.
That simple act of writing, it does feel powerful. It makes the goal real, tangible somehow.
Psychologically, it locks it in, focuses your mind. Tracy says these written goals are massive motivators. They spark ideas, help you push past procrastination.
Absolutely. And that exercise he suggests, write down 10 goals, then pick the one that would have the biggest positive impact.
Yeah, find your number 1 goal, write it down, deadline, plan. Daily action, he argues, focusing on that one thing could be totally transformative.
Now, this planning idea, it's not just for the big life goals, is it? He talks about daily planning, too.
Oh, absolutely. He quotes Alan Lakine, planning is bringing the future into the present so you can do something about it now. It's about being proactive, not reactive.
Right, and Alec McKenzie warned that just jumping into action without thinking, well, that causes problems.
So true. It's about being deliberate.
Okay, so how much time should we actually spend planning each day? Is it a huge commitment?
Not necessarily. That's where his 10-90 rule is interesting. Spend 10% of your time planning before you start.
And it saves you 90% of the time during execution. Wow.
Yeah. He reckons even just 10 or 12 minutes of planning each day can save you up to 2 hours of wasted effort later. That's a pretty good return.
Okay, so practically, what does that daily planning look like? What system does he suggest?
He likes lists. A master list for the month, then a weekly list, then your daily list.
So you kind of filter things down.
Exactly. Keep a running tab for the month, end of the week, plan the next week based on the monthly list. Then each evening, plan the next day using items from your weekly and monthly lists.
And there's something satisfying about lists, isn't there? Beyond just being organized.
Totally. Ticking things off. That visual proof you're making progress. It feels good, builds momentum, makes you feel less overwhelmed. Which, fights procrastination right there.
Okay, we can't talk productivity without the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle. Tracy brings this up too.
Of course. It's fundamental. The idea that roughly 20% of what you do yields 80% of your results. It pops up everywhere.
Sales, customers,
Yeah.
and definitely our tasks.
Right. So on your list of 10 things, probably only 2 are really going to move the needle significantly. The vital few versus the trivial many.
And the big trap is we tend to put off those vital few, don't we? The really important 20%.
We do. We get busy with the easy 80%, the stuff that doesn't matter as much, while avoiding the high-impact tasks.
It's about being effective, not just busy. You see people working flat out, looking super busy.
But achieving very little of real value, because they're doing the low-value stuff, avoiding the 1 or 2 things that would make a real difference, those high-value tasks, often harder, more complex, but the payoff is huge.
So Tracy's advice is blunt. Resist the urge to clear the decks of small stuff first.
Exactly. Tackle the big one. It requires a conscious choice, really.
Well-
Focus on the high-impact work before the easy stuff.
And he connects this back to thinking long-term.
He does. A clear, long-term vision helps you make better short-term decisions. Successful people think about the future, they delay gratification.
Whereas less successful people might focus more on immediate comfort or pleasure. Dennis Waitley's quote comes to mind. Winners are motivated by goal-achieving activities, while losers seek tension-relieving ones.
Precisely. Your future goals should dictate how you spend your time now. An important task has long-term consequences. Unimportant ones don't.
Okay, another principle, the law of forced efficiency. What's that about?
It's that simple truth. There is never enough time to do everything, but there is always enough time to do the most important thing.
Like when you have a critical deadline, you somehow find the time.
Exactly. You just get it done because you have to. It shows you can focus when needed.
Which kind of debunks the myth of, I work better under pressure, right?
Really. People say that, but often the pressure is a self-inflicted procrastination.
Yeah.
And research shows it leads to more stress, more mistakes, more rework. It's not actually efficient.
So to really focus on what matters, Tracy suggests asking some key questions.
Yes, powerful questions. First, what are my highest value activities? And don't just guess, ask your boss, your team, even your family. Get clarity.
Get external perspective.
Second, Peter Drucker's question, what can I and only I do, if done well, will make a real difference? Identify your unique contribution.
What only you can bring.
And third, the core question of time management. What is the most valuable use of my time right now? Constantly asking that.
Those 3 questions, asking them regularly could really shift your focus, couldn't it?
Absolutely. Keep you aligned with what truly drives results. And it leads naturally into creative procrastination.
Which sounds like an excuse, but it's not.
No, not at all. It's strategic. And about consciously deciding what not to do, what low-value tasks you're going to put off, or even drop entirely.
So you free up time and energy for the important stuff.
Exactly that. Procrastinate on the trivial many so you can focus on the vital few. Tracy says, look at your task. What could you just stop doing with no real downside?
Like his friend who cut back on golf.
Right. It reduced stress, improved work. Sometimes letting go is the productive choice.
Okay, a really practical tool, the ABCDE method. How does that work?
Super simple, super effective for your daily list. List everything, then assign a letter, A, B, C, D, or E.
Okay, what do they stand for?
A tasks are must-dos. Serious negative consequences if you don't do them. Your frogs. B tasks are should-dos, mild consequences if not done.
Okay.
C tasks are nice to-dos. No consequences, really. Fun stuff, maybe. D's means delegate, give it to someone else, and E means eliminate. Just stop doing it. It adds no value anymore.
And the key rule is focus on the A's first.
Absolutely. Always do your A tasks before B tasks. Never do a B task if an A task is undone. Never do a C if a B is undone, and so on. And definitely don't waste time on E tasks. That's time stolen from your A's.
Makes sense. Now, shifting to work, specifically key result areas, what does Tracy mean by that?
It's about knowing why you're employed. What results are you actually paid to deliver? What are your core job functions? Surprisingly, lots of people aren't crystal clear on this.
And that makes it hard to perform well. He has a rule about this too, relating to weakness.
Yes, a critical one. Your weakest key result area sets the height at which you can use all your other skills. Like a chain, it's only as strong as its weakest link.
So you could be great at 5 things, but if you're weak in one crucial area,
It holds you back, limits your overall effectiveness. Like a great salesperson who's terrible at paperwork, the paperwork weakness drags down the sales success.
and people tend to procrastinate on things they're weak at, right?
Exactly. We avoid stuff where we feel incompetent or have failed before, which just makes the weakness worse. The trick is to identify that weak area and actively work on improving it.
Because getting better at it reduces the urge to procrastinate on it.
Precisely. You might be just one skill away from a major performance boost. Which leads to his great question.
Ah, yes. What is that?
What one skill, if I developed and did it in an excellent fashion, would have the greatest positive impact on my career? Find that skill, ask others too, then make developing it a priority. Huge leverage.
Before you even start a big task, though, Tracy talks about preparation. Why is that so important for beating procrastination?
Because getting everything ready before you start,
Yeah.
it lowers the barrier to entry. If your desk is clear, you have your files, you know the first step,
Yeah.
you're much more likely just to dive in.
So lack of preparation is often the first hurdle people stumble on.
Often, yeah. The task seems daunting, partly because you haven't even gathered the tools. And he has a practical take on starting, doesn't he? Not about perfectionism.
Right. Something like get it 80% right.
And then correct it later. Yeah. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Just start. Get the ball rolling once you've done the basic prep. Adjust as you go.
Another big theme is constantly upgrading your skills. How does that fight procrastination?
Well, the better you are at something, the more confident you feel, and the less likely you are to put it off. Feeling inadequate in a key skill, that's a major trigger for procrastination.
Because you dread that feeling of struggling or failing.
Exactly. You avoid the task to avoid the feeling. So continuous learning isn't just for career growth, it's a productivity strategy. Pat Riley's quote, "Anytime you stop striving to get better, you're bound to get worse. Keep learning."
Okay, related to skills, what about identifying constraints? What's a constraint in this context?
It's the bottleneck, the main thing holding you back from your goal right now, the limiting factor that dictates your speed. Tracy says always ask, what's holding me back? Why haven't I achieved this yet?
Find the choke point.
Find it and focus your energy there. Relieving that one constraint can unlock massive progress. And the 80-20 rule applies here too, apparently.
How so?
He suggests about 80% of constraints are usually internal. Things within you, skills, habits, maybe beliefs, or within your company. Only maybe 20% are external.
So the first place to look is usually inward.
Yep. Successful people ask, what is it in me that's holding me back? Take responsibility for finding the cause and the solution.
And finally, he talks about developing a sense of urgency.
Yeah, that inner drive, that bias for action. Wanting to get started quickly on important things and keep the momentum going.
Not frantic rushing, but focused energy.
Exactly. Focus on what you can do right now. He even suggests repeating, do it now, to yourself. Build a reputation for getting important stuff done quickly and well. That's invaluable.
So all of this planning, prioritizing, skills, mindset, it all leads to one final action, single-handling the task.
That's the payoff. Eat that frog. Concentrate single-mindedly on that one important task until it's 100% done. No distractions.
Because switching tasks kills efficiency.
Massively. You lose time and focus every time you stop and start. Stay on task, work steadily, and you move up the efficiency curve, producing better work faster. It takes self-discipline, though.
Albert Hubbard's definition. The ability to make yourself do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not.
That's the bedrock. Self-discipline.
So boiling it all down from the material you shared, eat that frog.
Yeah.
is fundamentally about identifying your most crucial task, that frog.
And making it your absolute priority to tackle it first thing every day. Consistently applying these principles, focusing on those high-value frogs, that's how you boost productivity and beat procrastination.
So for you listening, take a moment. What is your biggest, ugliest frog right now? The one task you're avoiding. And thinking about these strategies we've discussed, which one or two really hit home for your specific situation?
Yeah, what resonates most. And here's something to chew on. Now that you have these ideas, what's the one frog you'll commit to eating, starting today? Which action will make the biggest positive difference for you right now? We really hope this deep dive has given you some solid practical things you can use immediately.
And if you want to go deeper, definitely grab a copy of Eat That Frog. Brian Tracy has a lot more insights on productivity and success. Good luck eating those frogs.